You got some organizing to do! Hi, Tami.
Hi.
This is Gery Deer, and I'm with Tami Doling of Silver Linings Organizers, and we're here to talk to you for Old Nerd in the Gym Fitness, and we just got done recording our podcast.
We did. It was fabulous.
Yeah, it was good. You have the longest podcast we've ever done.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I love it.
So there's only a little section we have to chop out where Julie messed up.
Whatever.
Julie's perfect.
Julie's perfect. So here we are, and you're going to show us some...
Just like Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way.
Yeah, there you go. She's behind the camera, by the way, so you can't see that.
Hi.
There she is. So professional here. So tell us about what you brought to show the people today. What is all this?
Well, first I brought a caregiver binder, which you have one yourself, so
yes.
You can tell me how this kind of compares to yours.
Well, I had to put mine together originally on my own, so I kind of did it offhand. It's
right.
Primarily for keeping information like medicine lists and all that, but ours goes a little bit further because it's also where people have to sign if they give my dad any medication. So if they give him anything, they got to put it in the book.
Right.
So we have a record of who gave it to him and when.
Right.
So that, it also has med lists in it, it has doctor's information, it has any orders that we have to go get filled, something like that. So is that similar to what you guys
Very
have?
similar to what we have. And instead of like trying to figure it out all by yourself like you did, which is awesome, by the way, high five with that. There's lots of resources online, and you can download PDFs that you can kind of fill in the spots yourself and then add to it, so you can customize it however you want.
Okay.
I like to have a pocket in the front, just of things to do, anything that you need to be reminded of right away. And then vital information, which should include all the key information about your senior.
So this is going to be things like, will it have information about which documents you have in here, anything like that, or which documents are available?
Yeah, well, that's why I have the.
So these are all.
They're all labeled. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Have an emergency identification card, and you can use and add or not add whatever you want. Obviously, we have some medical, which we were talking about earlier. So all the emergency medical information, the medication list, which you want to also add what the medication is for.
Yes, that's right. Having what it's for is really important because different doctors prescribe for different reasons.
Yes, yeah, so that's important. So any medical related things, and then having something that to do with property. So what I like to put in here, and you can put them in Ziploc bags, gallon-sized Ziploc bags that you just punch a hole in, is anything, property related, deeds,
so
lease agreements.
This space here would be for any of those legal papers.
Yeah, property, home, auto, anything, auto insurance, anything that you might have to get to. You don't want to overload it, but it would be nice to have it here. If somebody says, oh, I need this, you know exactly where it is, and just a copy of it. Any of your financial and legal contacts, institutions, numbers, account numbers, that kind of thing. And we were talking earlier that if you have no idea how to determine what your financial situation is just collect a month's worth of mail, and you'll kind of start by getting a good snapshot of what's has to go out bill-wise.
And we don't think about that either. That's something that can be used later on for all of us because we were talking on the podcast about how someone has control of all the money and everything, and they tend to pay the bills or whatever. If something happens to that person, then you don't know how to log into your bank account or something like that online.
Right.
So all that can go in this.
Oh, all of that can go in here, right? And anything end of life wise. So any
living wills, power of attorneys.
Yes, funeral arrangements, anything you want to do. Obviously, you want to have some things for contacts, which is going to be, caregiver contacts, doctor, pharmacy, those kind of things. Any insurance that they might have, medical insurance, life insurance, you could have a copy of all that in here. And then under personal, I like to, add things like a daily log, just of what you can do this maybe once every 3 months or something, of what their schedule is like. And then also passwords.
Oh, yeah.
Add passwords to the accounts that you might need to get into.
So lots of things have PIN numbers now where they don't have a password.
Yeah.
It's just a 4-digit or something like that that you put in. So those can go in there as well.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and then any kind of notes that you might have or take. And then
this has a lot of notes.
It does, yeah. I also just like to add a folder in case you want to put anything here, lab results or somebody that you that gives you a great, contact or resource information. So you can even add like a resource page, which would be great even if you can't use it right away. And then in the back, I'd like to have one of things you need to file, things that could go in another file that don't necessarily have to stay in your binder.
So we have that whenever we're finished at the doctor, we tend to have a bunch of papers.
Yeah.
And I'll stick them in there until I have time to put them where they belong.
Yeah, that's their temporary home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Temporary home.
Temporary home.
This doesn't become bigger because you're shoving stuff in the back of that.
No, absolutely not. No. Not like your shoe closet. I've seen
My
it.
shoe, yes, it's bad.
But you want to make a copy of this. So have 2 copies on hand and then upload it, like you were saying, to a safe, location somewhere where you can store it digitally as well, because this is really, like your handbook of what is going on. Then for emergencies where you don't need all this information, I like to have an emergency medical binder, for emergency room visits or, doctor's visits. I just kind of added an office visit checklist that you can do. And if you have one of these that you can fill out or the doctor can fill out, it makes it all consistent so you know where to find all the information.
So would this be, it says here, you may not be able to see this, it says office visit checklist, medication, dose, frequency, and notes. Would this be for new things they've added on?
Yeah.
So if they got some new order, you can go ahead and write in here so you have it in hand, even though they're going to give you some documentation.
They will, and it's up to you. I kind of like to have it so I know exactly where to look on each thing.
Well, there's a lot of extra stuff on those pages.
Correct, and then just kind of adding this to your medication list, but it kind of just gives you something to go by if you can't remember everything they said, right? At the same time,
right?
I like to add a calendar, of upcoming appointments. Again, this is a duplicate of this with your emergency medical information and your medication list and your weekly medication chart. So anything that's in the medical portion there. You can get different kind of folder holders. I like this one because it has a
pockets.
Right, a pocket for your insurance card, your POA and living will, which you were mentioning you need to have the original copy.
Right, you have to have one that has, certain states have different rules. Our state here, you have to have an original with the notary stamp on it.
Yeah, and you want to get a couple of those.
You want a couple of those.
Right. And then, adding one, hospital records I have here, if there's anything you need hospital record-wise, and then also any lab or test results.
So where do the pages in this come from, these printed?
Oh, these printed pages I just found online. I actually just, Googled caregiver binder, and there's
tons of stuff.
A plethora of stuff. Yeah, I think it's called A Place for Mom has one.
Is it PDF fillable or a Word document, or is it just a PDF you print out or something?
It's a PDF you print out.
And then you write the stuff in.
Yeah. And then, obviously, scan it in and make a copy of it.
And then you can turn that into a Word document if you wanted to.
Yes.
Use the information here and make your own. You don't have to use what's on these, but there's tons of examples of those. I didn't know that. When I started all this, that was 10 years ago. I didn't know any of this existed. Some of it didn't. It's only in the last 5 or 6 years you've really seen this take off.
Yes.
And I think it's great that you've managed to put all this in one space. So
yeah, I like this. Instead of taking this, you can just grab this and go.
Because it's just for that purpose.
Yeah, and this might be in what you were talking about, have you have a bag for yourself if you have to go to the
that stays in the bag or it stays somewhere nearby.
This would stay in your dad's bag.
Keep it in that bag, right?
Probably, right, if somebody has to take him.
Yeah, well, there's different, and that's the way we do it, because there's, in the bag, the only thing that's in his bag that's really detailed like that is there's what I call a med and doctor list.
Yeah.
So it's one sheet of paper. But that's also a digital sheet on my Google Drive, so if I need it, I can pull it off.
Right.
Doesn't have a social security number or anything like that on it, and I don't put his birth date on it. I handwrite the birth date.
Yeah.
If it's going to go, if I pull it off there, it doesn't have a birth date. The ones I printed for myself already do.
Okay.
So you be careful about the data you put out there, and if you're
Yeah.
going to use a cloud system, make sure it's password protected, and do a little looking before you use one. A paid cloud system is usually a little bit more safe. But I've seen those hacked just as much as a Google Drive has been,
right.
So it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So any other advice about stuff like this that you give to people? Any about organizing their documentation or keeping their paperwork?
Yeah, it may feel very daunting at first, but once you do it, it will make such a difference in your life, and it's worth it.
Great.
It's worth it.
So I'm going to steal a line now. Where can we find you?
867-5309. No, I'm just kidding. I've always wanted to say that.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It's out there forever now.
There it is.
Now it's out there forever on the web. And all that stuff is true,
It's all real.
It's a song.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
We got it.
Just a minute, I'm going to go over here now.
You can find me at silverliningorganizers.com. We have a Facebook page, we have a Pinterest page, and we write a blog for DaytonParentMagazine.com.
If you have not listened to the podcast yet, it's episode 7 from our season 2. It's going to say episode 7, whether
I really hope it is episode 7.
We're not sure if it's episode 7.
Said it all day.
And watch for me on Living Dayton. I'm on usually at least once a month.
And you can find that on livingdaytontv.com. It's free. You can look at past episodes and you can watch it live too. So that's it. I'm Gery Deer. This is Tami Doling. Julie Barth is behind the camera.
Bye.
Say bye, Julie.
Bye, Julie.
And we'll see you next time on Old Nerd in the Gym Fitness.